What's happening to me is the worst thing that's ever happened to any woman ever.
Notorious and nosy, the Karen is the self-victimized villain of our times.
Ma'am, I need you to calm down.
What is your name, deputy?
We can recognize a Karen by her soccer mom look, her entitled meltdowns, or her signature demand to speak to a manager.
Excuse me, do you know who I am? I'm sorry, that came out wrong. Do you know who I am?
All the attention on the Karen has felt sudden, as if this new entry into our cultural lexicon has come out of nowhere to match our current moment. But looking back over the years, we can find many fictional Karen predecessors in film and TV who can give us deeper insight into her deeper drives and pathologies.
I want to see you and your wife right away about Dorothy.
So who is the Karen, really? She's an entitled, middle-aged white woman.
You're the head of passenger services, and right now we are not being serviced. So what the F-bomb is going on?
She has a reputation for mistreating those she considers beneath her, like customer service and waitstaff.
See, if you tell me what you do, I'll tell you why my husband will fire you.
Her obsession with hierarchy makes her a stickler for the rules, all the better when she gets the power trip of enforcing them.
You deserve to be punished. Don't you, Mr. Potter?
As New York Times columnist Sarah Miller puts it, Karens like to think that they're the policewomen of all human behavior.
So, you know what? I'm calling the police. This is insane. Don't you even think about going anywhere.
In recent years, the Karen is best known for her racism.
Black Lives Matter!
White sorry.
All lives matter!
Her compulsion to interfere disproportionately targets people of color.
Please move, ma'am.
I can. Do you live here?
I'll answer that question, excuse me.
And she weaponizes her society's view of white femininity to cause real harm while feigning helplessness.
Well, I'm on my feet 4 hours a day, 3 times a week here. Now I have to go home and I have to cook dinner for myself?
Looking at on-screen Karen characters, we can see that deep down, she's plagued by a core feeling of powerlessness. But instead of addressing it in a productive way, she takes it out on others who have less than her.
Is mint the same as pistachio? One has chips and the other has nuts. Can you not tell the difference? Because I sure as hell can.
Here's our take on how the Karen comes to exist in a world that detests her.
I have a right to my pizza. I have a right to get my order.
And why, while we can pity her, her struggles still don't excuse the pain she inflicts.
All you do is scam, lie to try to get what you want.
Evelyn, stop.
You are a godless woman.
Hi everyone, I'm Susanna.
And I'm Deborah, and you're watching
The Take. Be sure to share and subscribe.
And never miss a take.
Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of people come together to take classes that fuel their creative journey. The first 1,000 people to use the link in our description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So become a member today and start exploring your creativity for less than $10 a month. The Karen as we know her grew out of a convergence of at least 3 memes. The classic "Can I speak to the manager" meme first identified her with aggressive, obnoxious entitlement, as well as her signature haircut.
You know, the haircut that all moms have. That's a soft waterfall in the front, but knives in the back.
Meanwhile, a well-known meme added that a Karen would take the kids in the divorce, just like reality star Kate Gosselin, the unwitting face of real-life Karens after her public divorce from husband John.
You don't talk perfect either.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Karen was also one of the many generic white woman names used on Black Twitter to criticize viral racist behaviors like Barbecue Becky, Permit Patty, and Corner Store Carolyn.
Corner Store Carolyn. I love that now black people are giving white ladies their nicknames on the spot.
Looking back, you can also view the trope as the spiritual descendant of a Miss Anne, a shorthand and code enslaved people used to discuss demanding, entitled white women in the antebellum period.
Mammy, here's Miss Scarlett's victuals. You can take that all back to the kitchen. I won't need to buy it.
While it's difficult to determine where exactly the Karen moniker came from because of her roots on the internet, there are a few earlier namesakes in TV and movies that some have put forward as possible influences. Karen Hill from Goodfellas, the wife of criminal Henry Hill, fits the central paradox of the trope.
This is Karen Hill. I want to talk to you. Hello? Hello? Don't hang up on me!
She's the victim of a husband who mistreats her, yet assertive in conflict with just about anyone else.
I'm gonna tell everyone who walks in this building that in 2R Rossi, you are nothing but a whore! Mr. Superintendent!
This Karen is also first charmed by Henry's wealth and status.
One night Bobby Fenton sent us champagne. There was nothing like it.
So her complicity makes our sympathy for her later suffering somewhat limited. Mean Girl's Karen Smith, who's been floated as another possible component of the Karen's creation, doesn't fit the bill for the trope's age, but does share her background and lack of racial awareness.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white? Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
The same year as Mean Girls came out, a Dane Cook routine joked that every group of friends has one member that no one likes, and she's usually named Karen.
Every group has a Karen, and she's always a bag of douche. When she's not around, you just look at each other and go, God, Karen, she's such a douchebag.
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Although she may go by a different name, there have long been Karens in our popular movies and shows, and they help illuminate the most central aspects of the trope. Being upper or upper middle class has afforded the Karen more than her fair share of privileges, like the luxury of throwing a fit in public and expecting no consequence. She'll kick up a storm over painfully trivial matters, seemingly feeling exempt from the imperative to remain polite in public, while acting aghast if anyone treats her with less than the utmost respect.
This school is actually here to serve all the children, not just Amabella.
Don't you talk to me like that.
This kind of conduct comes across as so hateable that fictional narratives have used this model to very effectively manipulate audience sympathy against Karen characters.
I was prepared to sue you. I don't know who I am, but I'm sure I have a lawyer.
After Joanna from Overboard is domineering and cruel to the man she hired to build a cabinet for her shoes,
Well, the entire civilized world knows that all closets are made of cedar.
the audience happily goes along with him getting revenge by kidnapping her and convincing this woman with a brain injury that she's the mother of his 4 kids.
Honey, I was sure you'd remember them.
Well, I think I'd remember if I had 3
4,
children.
honey. Don't forget little Joe.
Karen is also a proud consumer. She values status markers because they keep her visibly near the top of the food chain, which she deems more important than anything else.
This is a $4,000 sofa, upholstered in Italian silk.
It's just our couch!
And she typically has narcissistic traits. Admiration for herself mixed with apathy for others is a recipe for trademark Karen behavior. Game of Thrones' Cersei, the Karen of Westeros, values herself and the children that are an extension of herself above all else.
Everyone who isn't us is an enemy.
While her lack of regard for others makes it easy for her to feel justified in going to any length to protect her power and status. This self-importance, the misconception that she and her loved ones are better than everyone else, is vital to what drives a Karen. Even if it's a relatively new trope, the Karen exists to criticize an entitlement that's always been there. Today's Karen critiques focus on the significant harm she can cause through her racism and selfishness. The Karen we see on social media, while unmistakably real, is also one-dimensional. Viral moments of her obvious flaws don't do much to explain why she acts out.
Why are you so bent out of shape over them being
Because
here?
it causes extra money from our city.
Fictional examples of the trope, on the other hand, provide a deeper dive into her motivations.
Why did she do that?
I don't know why I did it, toying with the girl's emotions like that. Maybe I was bored. Maybe I was lashing out at Jeffrey.
The Karen's inflated sense of self leaves her expecting special treatment, which is the source of her speak to the manager attitude.
What the hairy hell is going on? I need to know.
But she's also defined by a sense of personal impotence that causes her to overreact when things go wrong.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with this woman. It's like she's power hungry. She can't just let us all get along. I said thank you!
When the series Ozark begins, unsatisfied housewife Wendy Bird feels helpless over her chaotic private life, and her frustration comes out through an inappropriate outburst at someone she can afford to yell at.
It's one of your employees. They told me that you had pistachio ice cream.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
No, I don't think you do.
Wendy has intuitively picked up on a concept that all Karens understand, what How I Met Your Mother's Barney Stinson aptly names the chain of screaming.
When your boss screams at you, you never scream back.
Hierarchies dictate exactly who we're allowed to mistreat, and Karens know their disrespect has to be aimed downward on the social ladder.
Arthur screams at you. You go home and scream at Lily. Lily screams at one of the kids in her kindergarten class.
Notably, as Wendy gains more actual power over her situation, for the most part, she stops acting like a Karen, which betrays that Karenness is often a totally misguided and ineffective manner of coping with a perceived lack of agency in one's own life. Little Fires Everywhere's Elena Richardson is an interfering, overbearing presence who causes damage to numerous lives around her.
You know, I'm just making a leap here, but I'm assuming that Pearl doesn't know any of this, that this has just been your secret.
But it's eventually made clear that she's this way because she's dissatisfied that having 4 children prevented her from having a serious career.
And there is no reason that you can't have another baby.
Is not wanting another one a reason?
Not for people like us.
Cersei Lannister is similarly miserable, trapped by a prophecy that's foretold the downfall of her and her children.
Gold will be their crowns. Gold, their shrouds.
Which, as we've realized, is everything she cares about.
Love no one but your children. On that front, a mother has no choice.
So you could say what most defines a Karen is this contradictory mix of both privilege and powerlessness. One of Karen's key characteristics is her middle age, and this woman feels disempowered due to her status as an aging woman in our society. While it in no way excuses her behavior, it's striking that some reactions to Karens focus on criticizing her appearance or lack of desirability, bringing a noticeable air of sexism and ageism to the conversation.
The white lady is overweight. She's just angry
Looks exactly
looking,
like you want.
Overweight white lady. Plenty of colloquial uses of the Karen name, particularly by white men, can function as an excuse to insult older women, while ignoring that entitled white men may more often get away with similar behavior.
If the sauce does not come on the side, I will send it back. I want garlic bread, toasted, not burnt. If it comes burnt, I will send it back.
The Karen has grown up used to the perks of being a young white woman, but has aged out of that demographic, which is viewed more favorably as culturally innocent. The value our society places on youth frames a spoiled young woman's faults as endearing.
Oh, wish me luck. What for? I'm gonna go get one of those job things.
But an older woman's entitlement is read as far more unpleasant.
Take it back. If I wanted something your thumb touched, I'd eat the inside of your ear.
Stories about Karens may allow us to feel sorry for these women to an extent, yet it's difficult to feel sustained sympathy while watching them act the way they do. The Karen's superiority and self-righteousness even give the impression she doesn't want our pity. She'd rather make us hate her and step on yet another person's neck than admit that she's not at the top.
I will be rich again. I will rise up. I will buy a polar bear for every kid in this school.
The Karen deals with feeling like she has no control by asserting as much authority as she possibly can.
No, enough! I will have order!
She's notorious for being hypercritical with a pathological inability to mind her own business.
Angela made several 911 calls about cars going too fast in front of the building, so the police put up a radar gun.
When the Karen is in a position of authority, she'll mold the rules to comply with her personal beliefs, thus revealing the potential to become a tyrant.
That power remains with the headmaster.
For now.
Much of the Karen's behavior is actually rooted in fear. Fear of losing the status and privilege that her whiteness and social rank affords her.
You didn't make good choices. You had good choices. Options that being rich and white and entitled gave you.
And this fear is what can lead her to be a genuinely threatening force in society.
Are you threatening me? Is fighting for someone else's child worth losing your own?
They carry different diseases than we do.
That's why I've drafted the Home Health Sanitation Initiative.
Constant viral evidence has made it glaringly obvious how often the Karen's unjustified anger is racist in nature.
I'm gonna tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
A Karen knows implicitly how easy it is to weaponize her white femininity and presumed frailty. She motivates white men to do the dirty work under the guise of protecting white women.
I don't know why I didn't kill him myself instead of going to the sheriff. That would have saved you and the sheriff and the taxpayers lots of trouble.
The history of film reflects how long white womanhood has been used to justify violence against black men. The Birth of a Nation, which shows a white woman committing suicide to protect her honor from a violent black man, led to a real-life resurgence of the KKK.
It was so powerful that it gave the Ku Klux Klan a rebirth.
The main conflict of To Kill a Mockingbird centers on white woman Mayella Ewell accusing Black Tom Robinson of rape because he rejected her advances.
Putting a man's life at stake, which she has done in an effort to get rid of her own guilt.
To this day, the idea that white women need protection from black men persists in many subtler forms too, often in veiled language.
Racist against who?
Black people. Keeping the redheaded girl away from the homies on the wrong side of town.
The racist history of the Karen illuminates that though white women have long been victims of a patriarchal society themselves, they have a legacy of frequently responding to this by taking out their repressed rage on the people beneath them. Instead of channeling her own experiences with discrimination to form empathy for other women or marginalized people, she takes comfort that her privilege still places her above most others. In the end, this short-sighted selfishness often backfires on a Karen, as the sad irony is she works hard to prop up a system that doesn't serve her well. While her position as a well-off white woman may allow her to mistreat many people,
You will stay here, and you will not leave this room. Do you understand me?
she'll also always be held back by the patriarchal society which limits her prospects.
Society in which women can no longer read your book.
In 1963, Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique helped launch second-wave feminism by diagnosing female dissatisfaction, especially in housewives, as the problem that has no name.
Are you unhappy?
Of course I'm happy.
But as intersectional feminist bell hooks argues, Friedan did not discuss who would be called in to take care of the children and maintain the home if more women like herself were freed from their house labor. She ignored the existence of all non-white women and poor white women. The Karen continues this narrow-minded concern only for herself, the affluent white woman, while neglecting the women and marginalized people who most need help within our current systems. In Black Klansman, white housewife Connie Kendrickson shows how willing she is to participate in brutal racism, even though, as usual, she gains nothing from trying to side with violent white men who keep her at the bottom of the barrel within her own household.
I think we should shut her mouth. Here. I clip the article.
That'll be all.
Ultimately, the Karens in period pieces drive home the truth that their experiences with misogyny don't excuse their participation in patriarchal racism.
I would never make this about race.
Helena, you made this about race when you stood out there in the street and begged me to be your maid.
The Karen remains such a useful cultural touchstone because she can be adapted to almost any situation where someone's being unreasonably difficult. Recently, the Karen trope has been used to criticize the selfishness of anti-science behaviors like rejecting vaccines.
Tell that Quinn girl not to vaccinate in the hospital. I'm pretty sure those shots made my kids stupid.
Or avoiding masks in the time of COVID-19. But with its pervasiveness, the Karen label also risks becoming so loose that it might be losing its meaning. Calling anyone who disagrees with you a Karen dilutes the social commentary the word can generate.
You better quit yelling at me, Karen.
The Karen is less a particular person than she is a collection of related behaviors and a certain worldview, or as Vox puts it, a pejorative catch-all label for a wide range of behaviors thought to have connections to white privilege.
I thought we were friends. White women always want to be friends with their maid.
Fundamentally, the Karen is a criticism of unacceptable attitudes and habits that society has too long accepted as normal.
Yes, I am white. We have established that. I guess white privilege wins again.
Obvious examples like the Central Park Karen or period piece Karens spark an immediate disgust in most white audiences.
Separate, but equal.
But thinking of racists as extreme, one-dimensional villains risks letting ourselves off the hook, instead of examining the extent to which any of us might participate in some of these behaviors or structures. Ultimately, the true usefulness of the Karen character is to challenge all viewers to look inward and reckon with the Karen qualities that might be lurking within any of us.
What matters isn't if people are good or bad. What matters is if they're trying to be better today than they were yesterday.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notified about all our new videos. This video is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning community that offers affordable classes designed to fit your schedule and skill level. Skillshare is a great way to tap into a new supportive community that provides encouragement and inspiration. With classes on everything from graphic design to productivity hacks, you'll be immersed in a new creative world. One Skillshare original you can check out right now is Amanda Rach Lee's class on art journaling, where the YouTube superstar will help you to express your feelings through mixed media art. Right now, Skillshare is offering our viewers a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. But that's only if you're one of the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below. So join today and jumpstart your creative journey.